Welcome back everybody to another episode on EI Entertainment Studios, back at it with another debate episode. Today's debate episode we're going to be talking about Godzilla 2019 versus Graboids from the movie Tremors. Now, if you don't know the movie Tremors, you've never seen it, a basic backstory is pretty much there's these giant worms that are devouring people, basically, in a desert. Pretty much all the movies. And they've been making some recent ones on Netflix now. I just hope they'll bring up the budget again as they used to for the original ones and make good ones again. But it is an interesting film saga, so you should really check it out. So, going with the backstory, this is the plan. We're gonna go over the Graboids, backstory, abilities, everything. We're gonna see what these are. But I will give a small disclaimer right now. I have tried to stick true to the backstory of the Graboid and make it as original as possible to making it a fair debate in this video. However, I have made a very small tweak in the backstory of the Graboids to make it a bit of a more fair fight. Because if you know, originally, Godzilla is over 100 meters tall, and Graboids are just a teeny bit over 9.1 meters long. So that's not a fair battle at all. So I did have to kind of, fix the length and all that with the backstory, and if you've seen Tremors, you'll know where the tweak is. If you haven't, well, I'll tell you too. Anyways, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with the backstory of the Graboids. Let's do it. So, the Graboids came into existence back in the Precambrian age. They are giant carnivorous worms that have tentacles in their mouth, which also have mouths, and those tentacles are also used to drag down victims into the ground in the mouth of the Graboid. As these creatures survived for many years, as other creatures went extinct, they eventually came in contact with the king of the monsters, Godzilla, and the radiation from Godzilla mutated the Graboids to grow a massive 40 times their original size. So basically, the whole backstory of the Graboids is basically an original. The only difference here is that they came into contact with Godzilla, and the radioactive material that Godzilla possesses mutated the Graboids to become larger. What a cliche, ha ha ha. But, so they grow 40 times their size, which is a massive size. So, putting in the math in here, I'm gonna skip to the size of these creatures. So, their original size is around 9.1 meters. Being with 40 times the size, their length will now be 364 meters, and their width will be 72 meters. It's going to be a big worm. Big, bloody, carnivorous, flesh-eating worm. Okay, so that's pretty much the basic specs. Let's go back into the abilities, and let's see what the heck this worm can even do. So the abilities go as follows. I'm going to skim over them completely, and then we'll do a deep analysis one by one. So first out, let's see what they are in a general sense. So abilities goes as follows: underground sonic speed travel, victim pull down, tremors, sinkholes, flying a bloodworm, extra thick skin, super sharp. Okay. The territorial level of this worm or graboid is maximum. Aggression level is maximum. Biome is Earth, and one more time I'll say it again, the length is 364 meters, and the width is 72 meters. Okay, let's go back into the abilities, and let's do a deep analysis. So what is the underground sonic speed travel? This is nothing really new with the Graboids. The Graboids are known to travel very fast underground. They're worms, and worms are known to... It's their own habitat, so they have these sharp ends on their skin, which actually help them travel really fast underground, and actually that's the main reason in the movie. I believe it was in Tremors 2. Yeah, it was in Tremors 2, where they figured out how old these creatures are by their sharp ends of their skin. And so that's pretty much helps them travel super fast underground in dirt, pretty much any type of soil. And now being extra larger, their muscles got larger, so not only do they travel fast, they can actually travel in sonic speeds underground, which is a massive, massive rate of speed. Now, with that being said, the next thing they have is victim cooldown. Now, this one comes from their other mouths. So, as you know, if you've seen a Graboid, they have a big mouth. And then when their mouth opens up, as I explained the backstory, when their mouth opens up, they have these tentacles. And these tentacles also have mouths in them. And they'll pretty much grab onto the opponent and pull them into the alpha mouth, or the big mouth. And so that's pretty much what the victim pulldown is. You won't see the worm, you'll see these snakes. That's why in the original movie, people thought these monsters were snakes, because the original worm wouldn't come out, and it would just be the tentacles pulling people down until the actual worm decided to come out. But, and these small tentacles actually seem like they have a brain of their own, which is really interesting. They have personalities, in my opinion, when I watched the movie, so it's quite interesting. So, that's pretty much what victim pulldown is. These small tentacles come and pull down the victim to the original big mouth. Next we have Tremors, the name of the movie. But what do tremors even mean? So tremors are basically small earthquakes caused by these fast-moving worms. So that's the basic idea what a tremor is. And these graboids can cause tremors. They can cause mini earthquakes. They can kind of like throw the opponent off and kind of put him to shock, possibly, or just destroy buildings. They can do tremors and destroy buildings if we're battling in a city setting. And then we have sinkholes. So tremors can actually, well, not tremors. I mean, you could call them tremors, really, because they cause tremors. But the real way of calling them graboids. And these graboids can actually cause sinkholes, and they can pretty much cause a sinkhole and pull you down without even the mouth, without even the tentacles. Without using tentacles, if they cause a sinkhole, the opponent is gonna fall into the ground, into the mouth of the graboid. Once you fall into the mouth of the graboid, there's a good chance you ain't getting out. Because, think about it, it's a big mouth, and it's a worm, so it sucks everything in. And besides that, there's tentacles pushing you down, so it's really bad. Next we have the flying bloodworm. Now, the reason why I call it a flying bloodworm, as you don't know, a bloodworm is an actual species of worm, and they're pretty much carnivorous worms that like to feed on blood of other animals. And these things are very close to bloodworms. Another thing that's very close to bloodworms, if you've seen King Kong from 2005, there's specific worms who ate characters. It's very similar to what graboids are. And I believe graboids are designed off of actual bloodworms. They look very similar to them. Quite too similar to say they're not. And so pretty much a flying bloodworm would be, in this instance, an ability for a graboid. A graboid can actually leap from the ground at least 30 meters above the ground into the air and then back into the ground. So they can leap. They're worms that can leap. And so they can leap and bash into the opponent. And therefore I like to call them the flying bloodworm ability. And then we also have the extra thick skin. Now, this is obviously a defensive and offensive ability at the same time. They have super sharp ridges on their skin, which also help them to move fast, but also can use it as a defensive and offensive ability. Let me explain. When this creature can combine this with the flying bloodworm ability and jump out, not only bash into their opponent, or even from the ground, they can swipe their skin as the graboid skin onto the opponent, and it's super sharp. It's gonna rip the opponent's skin. It's gonna cause some damage. And also it's gonna be very difficult for an opponent to break through the skin barrier of the graboid, as it is super, super thick. That's what she said. Anyways, that pretty much, in a sense, sums up Graboid. Basically, with the modified by EI Entertainment Studios to make it suitable for Big G. Now let's go let's actually go to the big G. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, known as Godzilla 2019, Fire Godzilla, Burning Godzilla, so many names for him at this point, Legendary Godzilla. Godzilla actually has one of the most interesting backstories of all Godzillas because he is the only Godzilla in the world of being a Godzilla that's not an abomination. Almost every Godzilla from Toho's, obviously we know this Godzilla is from Legendary and Warner Brothers. Almost every Godzilla from the Toho universe is an abomination, coming from Shin Godzilla to the regular Godzilla, even pretty much all Godzillas. They have a backstory that's an abomination. And the bad, he's either a nuclear abomination created from a mistake, or he's the souls of the dead soldiers. He always has bad energy in him. Whereas in this Godzilla, he's actually a natural phenomenon. He's a good thing and he's here to protect the Earth. Just like Gamera, really. It's like they took a concept from Gamera. Very interesting. So he's a good Godzilla. Well, I wouldn't say he's always with humanity, and I think he's going to be against humanity in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Or, excuse me, in Godzilla vs. Kong. But, we'll see. Now, his basic backstory, he's an ancient creature worshipped as a god for millions of years. He's here to protect the Earth from threats of monsters or non-monsters, pretty much any threat to Earth. Now, when it comes to abilities, this Godzilla does lack when it comes compared to other Godzillas, specifically Shin Godzilla, because he's not an abomination. When you use that ticket to say this guy is an abomination, then you can say, oh, he has these weird mutations of abilities. Whereas Legendary knew that, and they kind of sacrificed that, but it definitely worked out for Godzilla. It really did. So basically his abilities goes as follows. He has the atomic breath, just like any other Godzilla, right? He has pretty much great agility. He can kick, he can do tail whips, he can fight very well. But he is the only Godzilla to date that I have ever seen in my life to get hit with the oxygen destroyer and survive. Yes. He did it. The man's pulled it off. Also, he has another ability that is very, very unique, and that is something called burning ability. Many people called it the fire ability, but Legendary did confirm it's called the burning ability. So I'll just go with burning ability. And what this basically is this. He has an ability that has or requires a catalyst, two catalysts, other than himself. He needs excessive radiation. More radiation than his body already possesses. And he needs the complete form and energy of Mothra in his body. If he doesn't get the complete energy of Mothra, this ability will not work. And the only way to get the full energy of Mothra is her actually dying. Once these two catalysts are combined together and made into Godzilla, he can possess a new ability called Fire Godzilla, which is basically a massive blast of extra hot radiation which really melts everything in its path. Really. That's basically really what it is. And that's pretty much all the abilities of Godzilla. He is around 119 meters tall. His territorial, his maximum aggression is obviously maximum, especially towards Earth and his homeland. And that pretty much puts us up at, we're done with both of these kaijus actually explaining them. We're done explaining these kaijus, in a sense. So what do we have left? The final battle. We're gonna put these two kaijus up against each other on a death battle. So this is what's going to happen. We're going to go close range and far range. Now, obviously, close range is going to be more the most practical fight because they're going to go up to his faces and kill each other. Far range, we do it to limit their ability and see how these kaijus, again, will respond with a limited amount of abilities. So, we're going to go with far range first. Let's begin without further ado. We're going to put these two kaijus at 700 meters apart so they cannot come closer than 700 meters. we're gonna see what abilities that the Graboids can and cannot use when it comes to eliminating them at 700 meters apart. So, without further ado, let's begin. We have the underground sonic speed travel. Defensive, possibly. Offensive cannot be used. Remember, they cannot come close to each other. Okay? We have the victim pull down, cannot be used because he cannot come into contact with Godzilla in this far range battle. Tremors, too far to cause a tremor. Sinkholes, too far to cause a sinkhole. Flying bloodworm, too far, dude. Extra thick skin, defensive. So, funny. The Graboid is now to be out of, I don't know how many, I've done probably around 80, 90 debate videos at this point, maybe even 100. And the Graboid has been the first and only creature to be able to use no abilities for offensive in far range. He is the first Kaiju I've ever seen do that. He's worthless in far range. And Godzilla, obviously, is a bit more confined, but he can only use the atomic breath and burning ability. And if you do go into battle, I'm not even gonna go into the battle. I don't think we even need to go into this battle for far range. The worm is gonna be trying to flee, and as soon as it reveals himself, Godzilla uses the atomic breath, and then finishes him off with the burning ability. It's over. Nothing. Nada. Putting it at 1-0 because there's no abilities to be used for far range. That's really interesting. I did not see this coming. It will be 1-0 for Godzilla for far range. It is the quickest, the fastest debate battle I've ever done for far range in my life. That is interesting. But does that mean close range, the more real battles can be different? Oh, hell yeah it is. Look at the fucking worm, dude. Okay. Now, close range, where there is no limits whatsoever. This could be interesting. These two guys just going at each other. Now think about it. Godzilla 2019 is 119 meters tall from head to toe. The Graboid is 364 meters long from head to toe. That is massive. Insanely massive. Now he also has extra thick skin, which is very, very hard to penetrate. In a battle against Godzilla, theoretically speaking, this Graboid, if it jumps in the sky and falls onto Godzilla, the chances of it squishing Godzilla are very, very high. I think almost guaranteed. And with that being said, with it jumping on Godzilla and having the extra thick skin and the pointy parts of the skin and ripping into the flesh of Godzilla, I actually think Godzilla may not have that bit of a chance against the Graboid in close range, whereas the Graboid was pretty much useless in far range as it was, but in a practical battle in close range, I think Godzilla has no chance unless we put him against Godzilla Earth, which we can do that in another debate video if you guys are interested. That's gonna be completely different. But Godzilla right now, as a legendary Godzilla, will not stand a chance against the Graboid if that worm is 364 meters tall. Yes, I know Matthew Broderick's film Godzilla did not prove, or actually proved, that size does not matter, but in this instance, I think it does. The Graboid is way too big, way too thick. And if it jumps on Godzilla, that thing is gonna be toast. I'm giving facts to you guys. I don't care if you like it or not, if you're gonna cry that Godzilla is, oh, it's Godzilla, it's Godzilla. Yes, maybe if legendary Godzilla had an ability to evolve quickly, Now, if you're going up against Shin Godzilla, yes, Shin Godzilla would have this deficiency against him, but who is to say he couldn't evolve to make him larger? This Godzilla does not have that ability. He is stuck the way he is. And I believe 364 meters, millions and millions of tons, falling onto Godzilla. Whereas King Ghidorah, give him a hard enough time, will squash him to pieces. I don't think we need to go deeper into this. He can cause sinkholes, he could pull him down, he could do the flying bloodworm. The flying bloodworm and the extra thick skin are enough to kill Godzilla in the far range battle. Think about it. I'm saying this a lot because I'm trying to make it clear. The thing is 364 meters tall, or long, you could say. Matt weighs a ton, millions and millions of tons, and has sharp end to its skin. And it's pretty much radioactive too, so it's pretty much a Godzilla worm. You can debate me in the comment section below, but I'm going to be going 1-1 now. I'm definitely giving to the Graboid after this. So, what that means, we're going to overtime, and we're going to rate them off of pure and only pure abilities. So let's go over Godzilla first. He has the atomic breath. He has an immensely strong tail whip. He can pretty much fight in every way. He's super agile. He's really good in recovery. He can survive the oxygen destroyer. I don't know if I said this, but I believe that he has the atomic breath. If I didn't say that, well, now I'm saying that he has the atomic breath, and he has the burning ability. Where it comes to the Graboid has underground sonic speed travel, victim pull down, tremors, sinkholes, flying bloodworm, and extra thick skin. Now, even though the Graboid lost in a far distance battle, we're not going to rate them off of size at all. Just off of pure abilities, I promise, I will have to give it to Godzilla, making it 2-1 due to overtime. If we're going to pure abilities, yes, even though size is not fair, Godzilla's abilities do overtake it. So Godzilla will be the winner of this debate video due to overtime decision by me. You can obviously debate me in the comment section below of how this went, if you don't agree, or agree with me if you want to praise me. Obviously, more requests are happily accepted. Did you like me doing this integrated movie monster series, Greek mythology I could add to? It'll be a fun add-on, so let me guys know what you guys think. And anyway, without further ado, thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a wonderful day.